Do you want to practice better? Do you want your students to practice where they actually get some results? Well, have you really talked to them about how to practice? Maybe, maybe not. So if you're interested in how to practice better, if you're a student watching this or a teacher wanting to share with your students some principles for better practice, then have a watch of this excerpt from what's actually week 5, lesson 3 of the To the Point program. Enjoy. I'm introducing a new section today called Practice Tips. You're now having enough material to do for practice that I want you to have some greater ideas on how to do some better practice. Okay, and I've come up with a little acronym. That's where like the first letters can make like another word if I just take them, and it's a good way to help you remember it. Okay, so the acronym I came up with is if you want progress, you need to track your progress. So T stands for timing. How long are you practicing? How many repetitions are you going to do? And how fast are you doing things? How slow are you doing things? Talked about, I think in the first week, the difference between fast twitch, slow twitch, working on stamina muscles, working on going slow, like all that is under timing. Also under timing would be, when do you do this? You'll notice that a lot of the things that I've given you thus far are things to do before class so that you're in the best possible state to take class with your fullest range of motion and your best awareness. So if you're going to track your progress, the T would be, what's the timing? When? How many? Should it be fast? Should it be slow? Okay. The R would be for recording. Now that would be where your journal comes in. Record your attitude and your feelings. So like your attitude towards receiving a hands-on correction, your feelings about parts of your body story, your thoughts about what you're learning, how you feel about your body as it's learning this, aha moments. I would record more than just your, I did 8 of these and 10 of those. That doesn't give you much information, okay? And truthfully, I mean, when people do that, I actually kind of hate it when some book, anybody giving you training saying, do 8 of these. Well, where the heck does 8 come from anyway? Is that just because dancers count from 1 to 8 all the time? Why shouldn't I do 9 or 10? If it came from an exercise world where they're not following music, they probably say to do 10. It's kind of funny. What does repetitions have to do with anything? That's completely ignoring your ability to sense your degree of fatigue and whether you should keep going. That is ignoring whether you have discomfort in a joint, in which case don't do any more. Or ignoring whether actually I'm doing this little practice session, but I already had 2 classes today, but I'm still going to do a little bit at home because I have the time, but I'm already partially fatigued. So maybe I'm going to do less. So record how it's feeling and things you notice. Don't waste your time just writing down numbers because it's going to be different all the time. You know, as I work to gain my strength back on my left side, there was days, and I wish I was kidding, we're doing 4 rises, completely tuckered that foot out. It was such a new action that to pump my own body weight 4 times, it was like, whoa. And then other days, it would be way easier. And if I had recorded it every day, which I'll be honest, I didn't, wish I kind of had, it would be really interesting. Maybe it was because I did those 4 rises after I'd gone for my walk and I'd been walking uphill. So I'd really already pushed through and been doing rises actions. I was pre-fatigued before I went to try to do it. Okay, so the R of track your progress is for record. The A is for pay attention. What is your intention and are you paying attention? Mindlessly doing exercises, especially because you're like, oh, I'm supposed to do 20 and it's just get through it, yields very poor results. The paying attention is where you learn. You learn your habits, and I've been asking you for a lot of sensitivity. You should not be rising up on full point if you don't have a sensitivity about your pathways and whether you went a little off at the very beginning of the start of a rise, which ends up quite a bit off, right? That plane that was going to go to Portugal instead ended up in Morocco, right? New York to Portugal. Oh, a few degrees off, end up in Morocco because they didn't pay attention. So paying attention is what gives you muscle balance and makes you truly safe. And this is a new frontier for study. There is some study out there that if I'm paying attention to what I do, I gain more strength out of less repetitions. Wouldn't that be handy? So if I go back to me saying, oh, those 4 rises fatigued me, let's say maybe now I'm doing 10 rises, but I'm going slowly and I'm paying attention to inch by inch. I'm noticing everything in my body. That could be more growth for my body, organization, coordination, noticing, and strength than if I just pumped up and down 20 times. I think that makes sense. So pay attention. The C for track is clarity. Now that's kind of similar to paying attention. And if I wasn't trying to have the cool word of track for track your progress, I probably would put clarity before attention. But regardless, it's part of your practice skills. I have to know and be really clear what I'm trying to do. And then I can pay attention to it. So see why I'd say I'd actually kind of reverse them? Okay, I'm clear that I'm actually trying to rise straight. I'm clear that I'm trying to rise with a little bit of a sickle on the way up and then recover down so that I learn to recover. I'm clear that I'm doing that. And then I can pay attention to whether I'm doing it or how well I'm doing it. So clarity of what's being asked of you, what you're asking of yourself. And the final one, K, is for kinetic. Kinetic, kinesiology, kinetics, all those types of words mean it's about movement. So I put this one in here when I was trying to come up with a word, and I'm like, what are the principles I want you to really get? You are here to learn to move. You are not here to learn a whole bunch of positions. So let the K of track and learning the word kinetics, if you hadn't known that word before, to remind you that you're always, please, when you're doing your practice, practice movement, not practice positions. Okay, I hope that makes sense. As much as we have, and it's kind of dangerous language. We have first position, second position, work on your 5th position. No, don't work on your 5th position. Work on coming into and coming out of your 5th position so that you're working on the movement of how you're getting there, how you're coming out of it, how you're playing in it, how you're rising from it. Movement, not positions. So are you working on your 3/4 point highest thing? No. You're working on the rising or the relevating or the stepping to that place. And here's the part I want you to kind of follow up with. Talked about in the anatomy before about isotonic and isometric, right? One that's the isotonic's a movement, shortening or lengthening, and isometric is the hold. There's going to be times that you're holding your position. You're staying up there. You're balancing, whatever. To the audience's eye, you're not moving. But I want you to always think it's always about movement, which means there's always some sort of flow. Hello, breathing. Okay, so even if I'm holding a position, it's about the movement of flow and breath, micro movements, micro adjustments that are always happening. So we'd call that dynamic balance if you're actually looking like you're being still, but you're actually not. Okay, so timing, record, attention, clarity, and kinetics. It's about movement. If you use those 5 principles when you're doing practice, it will be of great use to you because then you're going to practice in a way that's truly making progress instead of just doing it. All right, I hope that all makes sense.